kind of a shock. And now all of this feels so heavy on your shoulders and you've got to figure it out. Hello, everybody. My name is Bethany. I'm a licensed mental health counselor based in Florida. Welcome to my channel. If you have never been here before, I'm so glad that you found this and have joined in. If you've seen one of my other 4, maybe 5 videos, welcome back. So glad to have you here. So anyway, let's just jump right in. I have been thinking a lot about building this community. I've talked about that in the other videos that I've done. And I really want to bring it back to the basics today. And part of bringing it back to the basics is maybe giving someone who's experiencing a major, unexpected life change, maybe giving them a little bit of hope, a little bit of direction and guidance, because I know that that's something that I certainly needed a few years ago when I was going through some things too. And so, without further ado, let's bring it back to the basics. Well, I think this is so important when your life has just changed completely unexpectedly and drastically. It's so important that you find support, okay? And whether this is through your church, whether you've already got a network of really close, trustworthy friends that you can rely on, whether you've got other family that you can rely on and trust, it is just so important that you identify some key people that can come alongside you and walk with you as you figure out your next steps. The only requirement, I think, for finding this support network is that you can trust the person, like really trust this person. This person follows through. They do what they say they're gonna do. They have a history of following through. That's going to be really important if you're going to rely on them for this time. Also, you want to be sure that this person is going to treat your life, your situation, all the people involved with dignity and respect and privacy, right? You don't want to be divulging information to someone that is just going to go spread it to the whole community. That would not be helpful for you. So step 1, I believe, is find a person, find a couple of people in your family or out of your family that you can trust, really trust, and share with them what's been going on or what just happened, and allow them to walk with you through this. Okay, so the second step kind of follows that a little bit, where I was saying earlier, as you navigate your next steps, your next moves, I think it's really important that you give yourself permission to not have it all figured out. How could you have it all figured out? You're probably in the aftermath of one of the greatest shocks of your life. Your whole system is dysregulated. You can't think clearly. You're not functioning properly at this time. That's to be expected. It's not always going to be like that, but for right now, that is perfectly normal and that's to be expected. You don't have to have this grandiose plan of all these steps ordered for you to take. That's a lot of pressure, and you do not need that pressure right now. And so we're going to scale back and we're going to focus on just the next few steps to take. And that really includes just covering your basics, just making sure that if you've got children, your children are being taken care of. Okay, like I was saying before, if you've got children, yeah, you need to make sure that your kids are being cared for, you're still getting them where they need to go. Maybe this is part of that support system where people can be helping you with childcare, helping you get your kids where they need to go. So one thing that I didn't clarify earlier in the video, which I'll go ahead and clarify now, When I'm talking about your life changing unexpectedly, I'm really referring to losing your partner, losing your spouse, the person that you count on and you feel is going to be there forever, and suddenly they're not. That's what I'm referring to, that kind of a shock. And now all of this feels so heavy on your shoulders and you've got to figure it out. So I just wanted to clear that up. That's what I'm talking about there. I think one of the next really important things that you can kind of give yourself permission for is not feel like you owe everybody an explanation, not feel like you have to share what's going on. You don't owe anybody an explanation. You don't have to share anything about what's going on until you feel ready to do so. In fact, I would encourage you not to share what's going on with anyone outside of that trusted support network, that inner circle, because you're not in a position to really handle that kind of information telling. And give yourself permission to just take that off the plate. You do not need to explain yourself to anyone. You do not need to give anybody answers. And if you feel that people are crossing boundaries and they're asking you for more information than you want to give, you do have permission to graciously shut them down. Say, thank you for your concern. I'm just not able to go into the details. Thank you for your concern. I will keep that in mind, if they're offering to do something for you. And so you don't have to be rude and you don't have to feel like you're being rude by cutting someone off, but you are advocating for yourself and for your family by just sticking to that, sticking to the inner circle. So all that to say, I'm probably going to edit out a bunch of what I just said because I was tripping over my words and I'm still not very good at this. But what I was saying was, you do not owe anybody any explanations and you don't have to give people answers. Your privacy can remain private. Lastly, in order for you to figure out what your next steps need to be and what they can look like, because that will be a part of the healing process, that will be part of your journey from the before to the after, because that's just how trauma and shock and things go. There's a before and there's an after, and we're not quite over in this hemisphere on this side yet. But I think if you allow yourself to get really honest with yourself and to get honest with God, because He knows anyway, I think that just gives you some extra courage or maybe strength to face the reality of what's going on. So many times we want to bury our head in the sand. We want to look the other way, minimize the pain, pretend we've got it all together. When you're living through something like this, it's pretty hard to pretend that you've got it all together unless you're completely dissociated, and that is a possibility. But if you're willing to face at least a part of the reality by allowing yourself to be honest with where you're at, with what you're really feeling, I would imagine you probably have a lot of questions, and maybe you're wondering how God could allow this into your life, why God would allow this into your life. That doesn't mean that we question His sovereignty. It doesn't mean that we doubt His goodness. Friend, when you're walking through something so devastating and so difficult, those kinds of questions rise to the surface, and they're perfectly normal, legitimate questions. It does not mean that you are a lesser Christian or that you somehow are lacking faith. It just means that you're allowing yourself to be really, really honest. And I would suggest that is what grows your faith. When you're that honest and you're willing to be that vulnerable and transparent and really allow the Lord to see that and be a part of that, that is going to grow your faith, not make it weaker. So I know this is not an exhaustive list of all of the things to do. And there's a lot more to be said about it, but I think those are the very basics. You need to have support. You need to be able to pull someone in that can help you walk through this. And of course, there's the financial ramifications. We'll talk about that in another video for sure, because we've got to take care of ourselves and we've got to have help sometimes, and that's okay too. So I hope that these ideas, I hope that this video maybe encouraged you. Maybe you're not the one that's going through something devastating or difficult right now, but you know someone who is. Would you share this with them? If you found this helpful at all, will you consider subscribing so that you'll be notified when I do more videos, or just keep checking in and seeing the content that's coming, and I hope it speaks to you. So I hope you have a really good day, and I look forward to connecting with you again. Bye. Oh gosh, this is so hard. Oh, this is hard.